Is this going to cause travelers, not knowing there's a road there, to encounter a truck in the fog and cause more fatalities? Thank you.
Thank you. Sheila Jenkins, followed by Chris Neary.
Good morning. At the last hearing, one of Northern Ag's drivers said in his testimony, "Yes, this intersection is a little scary at first, but you get used to it." Well, Northern Ag is in the concrete business. I would think they could build themselves an overpass which wouldn't be so scary. Or buy an industrial site like the Masonite site with good infrastructure already in place for their expansion plan. Because a good traffic plan just won't fit on this site, and their traffic plan is not safe for us or their drivers. Let's focus on just one of its problems, the lack of an accelerating lane for trucks leaving the quarry heading south. Even with this new last-minute plan, trucks fully loaded and pulling a trailer will be expected to merge going 10 to 20 miles per hour into traffic going 70. Why? Because they don't have room for an accelerating lane. They would need about 2,900 feet, and they don't have it. A good plan would have an accelerating lane long enough to allow for no more than a 10 or 15 mile per hour differential between the speed of the merging trucks and the surrounding traffic. The current standard for an accelerating lane needs to be described in this document to provide a basis for comparison. Studies have shown that as the speed differential rises, the rate of rear-end collisions also rise. So, with a 40 mile per hour and greater speed differential, we can expect to have the collision rate increase 1,000 times or more. This report does admit that these slow-moving trucks are often forcing the unsuspecting drivers to quickly make unsafe lane changes in an effort to avoid rear-ending these trucks. And because of this problem, this plan was given only a D grade, which will deteriorate to an E grade over time. It is safe to say that at level of service E, we will see an increase in accidents which can be calculated, and this calculation needs to be done. This poor grade is also assigned to this plan because of a doubling of the traffic projected by Caltrans over the next 20 years. Drivers trying to change lanes quickly to avoid these trucks in the future may not have an opening in the other lane to move into. This does not meet minimum safety standards. In addition, Northern Ag is also proposing a dramatic increase in truck traffic that will no doubt increase the accident rate. This needs to be calculated. Surprisingly, this document does not use data on peak commuter traffic, which will be mixing it up with these concrete trucks. It only tracked truck traffic after the commuter hours, which skews the picture. This should be corrected. Assuming that additional persons injured or killed is an unacceptable risk, I think you will conclude that this traffic plan will have a significant impact. And in closing, I would like to see the severity of the accidents at freeway speeds addressed. The last one we had was an 8-car pileup. I would like the severe winter weather and the transportation of flammable petroleum factored in, with a net increase in the accident rate from all of these factors needs to be calculated, and the level of service needs to be above poor, I would think, to deal with all of these risk factors. I'd like to submit this letter that these 3 questions that I posed to the new traffic engineer, George Rao, yesterday. I didn't get a response back from him yet, but they address what a normal intersection looks like, what the standard for dealing with a normal intersection. None of that is in the plan, and we need to know what it should look like.
Thank you, Ms. Jenkins. Chris Neary, followed by Azure Kennedy.
Good morning. I represent the applicant, and I have for a number of years. In the course of that representation, I've handled 2 separate applications by this applicant for an asphalt plant and industrial zones. And in both cases, there was the neighborhood controversy of truck traffic on interior roads, proximity of the asphalt plant to homes, and I'm also familiar that there's been 3 other applications in this county. The 2 that I talked about were both turned down. There were 3 other applications were turned down. One by Gelati Brothers, which I was peripherally involved with, in western Willits. The Hot Rocks application in eastern Willits by Marge Hanley, and the Hot Rocks application down on the Sonoma border. All 3 of those applications were turned down because they were located on industrial property which had proximity to a number of homes and commercial establishments. So this is the predicate of this application. We'll be making our comments on this matter in writing to the consultant. But I wanted to just provide that perspective that we've had at least 5 applications in this county where the applications were for industrially zoned property, and they were found to be in too close proximity to neighborhoods. Lastly, I just want to point out that the Planning Commission had a site visit, and from the comments of the planning commissioners, I think that it was very well received by them. It provided them with a good base of information, and I would recommend that at some point in these proceedings that the board itself schedule a site visit to the quarry and the proposed asphalt plant site. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Neary. Azure Kennedy, followed by, I believe, David Smith Ferry is going to be reading a comment from Larry Jensen.
Good morning. Hello,
morning.
my name is Azure Kennedy. I live off of Black Bart Road in Willits. I think that this asphalt plant is wrong. Because of the pollution it is going to bring, it is a place where people live, not a place for an asphalt plant. The road is already scary, and the DEIR plan they have is scary too. My neighbor, Cirrus, has, he is 3. He has asthma, and it won't help him. It's not good for him. Because they think I had my classmates sign a petition because they think it is wrong too. And they wrote letters.
Thank you very much, Ms. Kennedy. It takes a lot of integrity to come before us at your young age, and we do appreciate it.
Hello, thank you for the time. Larry Jensen, who's a resident up on Blackhawk Drive, asked me to read some comments of his because he's out of the area today and regrets he can't read them to you or speak to you himself. And I'd like to suggest that this is in some way a counter perspective to the one offered 2 speakers ago. Mr. Jensen asks that we ask the consultant to more thoroughly examine the some of the economic issues at stake here in the preparation of the environmental impact report. So. It's argued that there isn't enough asphalt production capability in the existing asphalt plants in the county to supply it with what it needs to repair existing roads and to construct new roads. And the truth of the matter is that the existing asphalt plants in the county are currently operating far below maximum production and can easily expand production for county projects